thank you very much for your great contribution for Learning Engineering event. So my first question is about your impression. What do you think about your first visit to Turkey?
Oh, Turkey has been on such a long list of mine to come, and it just never happened. So, extremely excited to be here. I've had a wonderful visit, and this conference is amazing. As I said in my talk, this is literally the largest learning engineering conference in the history of learning engineering.
Great.
So that is something I think you and the other organizers need to be extremely proud of, to bring this work into this, into here in Turkey, and it's just been a wonderful experience.
Great, great. And so, how do you see the future of learning engineering? What are your expectations? What's going to happen in the future?
It's hard to predict for the simple reason that, like 2022, who knew ChatGPT would come out, and now we're all having these conversations, right? So I think the critical thing about learning engineering, I think, is about the process. That if we have this sort of multidimensional, multifaceted, iterative, human-centered process, the future is always going to be that. I think the piece that I feel often doesn't get addressed in learning engineering is sort of the creative and the aesthetic parts of things. Like that, the experience of learning can be very powerful, and sometimes when we focus on the engineering, we forget those aspects. So I think that's an area where learning engineering is to grow and develop in the future, right? So just like in engineering classes, UX design is different from just computer software design. I think in learning engineering right now, we are at the stage where software design was. We haven't really stepped into the nature of experience that students have, because there are emotional, affective components, and those I think will be another area that I think learning engineering will develop.
Great, great. So can you also summarize a little bit, what do you do in Arizona State University in terms of learning engineering?
Sure. So at Arizona State University, I have sort of two hats that I wear. So one is I'm a professor at the Maryland Fulton College of Teaching and Learning Innovation. And then I have a director's appointment to the Learning Engineering Institute, and that's been just for the past 1 year. And so right now it's been much more of my figuring out how I fit in that organizational scheme. But again, the parts that I mentioned earlier about sort of thinking about the creative aspects of learning, particularly with generative AI, that there is so much of a hype around that it has become a personal tutor, it'll be this. I have a little bit of a tension with that. And then, but also recognizing that it's a very powerful technology and that it can have significant impact on how we think about the role of educators, the role of technology, of it being a learning partner, and so on. So that's sort of a major area of focus for me. Some work that I do is around this issue of bias in this system, so I talked about that a little bit. It's led much more by Melissa Wall, who's a former student of mine who is a faculty member now, but I'm very involved in that line of work as well. And then creativity and AI is something that I dabble with personally, and I just taught a class in that. So.
Okay, great, thank you. So you see, we are at the beginning of the journey.
Right.
So we are just starting on working on learning engineering, especially in the context of K-12 education, for teacher education. So what are your suggestions for TED University School of Education?
Sure.
For a safe journey, what should we do or what should not we do?
I think in terms of should we do, I think if you look at that flower or the petal sort of shape, you look at all the different expertises that are required. So now you have to start thinking about in the K-12 space who are important. So social emotional development becomes a critical component. Sort of disciplinary knowledge is already there, but that I think the social emotional is one. I would love to see more artists and sociologists and people like that involved in that process, because they bring a very unique lens, a very humanistic lens to the work. It's almost like if you think about Apple as a company, there is an artistic element to the design of that, of the engineering of this product. I think those are the kinds of components to be thinking about. Also, I think very importantly in the K-12 space in particular, recognizing the critical role of the teacher. It's very easy sometimes for us to become sort of data-driven rather than data sort of inspired. You know what I mean? Data-informed. And that data can come in many shapes and forms. And we often tend to think of data in quantitative terms, but there are knowledge or wisdom that teachers bring into that space that I think we need to figure out ways of thinking about.
Okay, great. So thank you very much, and I hope next time we are going to have you are going to have a longer visit. So we really love to listen to you.
Thank you.
Either in learning engineering or any topic related to education. So I appreciate. So Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This has been an absolutely wonderful visit and long overdue. But hopefully the next one is sooner than this gap that was before. And I have absolutely enjoyed both the cultural aspect of it, the friendliness that the people have shown, everybody has shown, and just the wonderful conference that you guys have organized here.